Mm. Oh, ready. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to your show. My name is Jane Jin. My Chinese name is Jin Xiuhong. I was born in China. When I was 16 years old, our family was so poor. I didn't have enough food, just like other family members. And also, I never wear any new clothes till 16 years old. My mom told me you should join the Chinese military so that you can have a food and you will have a clothes too. So that's how I joined the Chinese Communist Party's PLA, Liberation, the People's Liberation Army. That was when I was 16 years old. So after 4 years of service in the military, then I went to university. I worked at the Chinese Communist Party regime's propaganda bureau. In our bureau, we just make fake news every day, year after year. Ever since 1950s, our foreign languages express established. There were more than 30 languages, brainwashed Americans and all the people in the world every day, year after year. And during I was 16 years old, 4 years of service in the Chinese military, we were told we must take down the capitalism leader, the imperialism USA, our biggest enemy. And how do we take down this big enemy while China was so poor? I mean, when I was 16 years old, when I joined the military, that is more than 50 years ago. And so we talked about we mustn't use traditional way of warfare because China was so poor. And that time, most of people don't even have enough food and don't have enough clothes to wear. Everything is quoted by the Chinese government. You get the tickets for how much food you can eat and how many foot of the clothes material you can buy. And even oil, cooking oil, and gasoline, everything is quoted, just like North Korea today. So we must, strategy number one, we were told, is mustn't have a traditional way of warfare because if we do, we will lose the war and lose money as well because the United States is too big, too rich, too much high tech oriented, and China cannot afford to fight against the United States openly. And so, strategy number two is we must divide and conquer and make American people fight against each other so that make America weak. Then they can attack against the United States and take US down. And number three strategy is do anything whatsoever, unrestricted warfare and using the bioweapon and the chemical weapons. And so in this way, it's more efficiently spend less money to take down our biggest enemy. One of my neighbor, I remember that time, when I was even before I joined the military, and my neighbor, whose last name is Young, and she joined the military. And one day when she comes back home, she told me, "You got to be careful about mosquitoes." I said, well, why do I have to worry about mosquitoes? He said, she told me, because some of them escaped from our lab. And we are doing very important thing for special wars. And we are going to use those little mosquitoes to spread some kind of disease. In that way, we kill our enemies and make them weak will be more efficiently. So that was when I was so young, and I already know what's going on. During the military time, of course, all kind of things in our political study time, which is every week, every Friday, we have a political studies. And it's all talk about how to achieve the Chinese Communist Party's goal, which is liberate entire humanity using the Chinese Communist Party's so-called communism ideology. And the final goal the Chinese Communist Party regime set was during its establishment. When the Chinese Communist Party established on July 1st, 1921, they already set up the goal, want to so-called liberate entire humanity using the communism ideology and destroy and eliminate all the capitalism. The biggest enemy is the United States and United Kingdom, because those two countries are biggest capitalism countries. And as you know, any country have a freedom and have a Western ideology, which means people have a right to do their business and follow the law, follow their constitutional rights. And that's how the United States is so great. And as an immigrant, many people come to this country legally in the past, and we worked hard because we love this country, we enjoy what we do. For example, someone like me have nothing at all when I came to the United States, but I worked hard. Sometimes I worked for 18, 19 hours a day. And so in that way, we create our own better life and great life in America. So we also enjoy the great speech of freedom and publication and all the constitutional rights we can enjoy. But this is what the Chinese Communist Party regime afraid of. Because if you have a freedom to say China is a dictatorship, killing people, arresting people with no reason, and put innocent people in jail, that's wrong. That's a human rights violation. They don't want to hear it. And so that is what we are talking about. The second thing is people in the world, especially in the United States and in Taiwan, and which is aimed by the CCP, want to take the biggest enemies down. We want, I would like to ask all the people in especially these two countries must realize the Chinese Communist Party regime have been lying to you all the time. I worked on those projects. We lie to everybody in the world, domestically and internationally. I worked at the Foreign Languages Express, which is the Chinese Communist Party regime's propaganda bureau. Those are more than 30 languages, doing nothing else but to tell you how great China is, how beautiful China is, how wonderful China is. But the only thing they don't want you to know is the Chinese peoples are slaughtered when they feel like, when the Communist Party feel like it's needed. For example, they can open the floodgate and reservoir and flood a certain area. For example, like Wuhan and Hebei province, and people can see that, but they don't want you to know. They don't want to show it on the TV either. And they lie every sentences, whatever they say, because the Chinese so-called news is totally by design, and it is a planned strategy try to achieve each steps of the CCP goals. For example, before the Taiwan president, Mr. Jiang Jingguo, passed away, he is the son of Chiang Kai-shek, and he was a president in Republic of China. Before he passed away, 2 years, our Foreign Languages Bureau had been planned to attack Taiwanese and cheat them in big time. And so there are a lot of preparation and try to prevent the Taiwanese against the mainland China CCP regime. And the main goal is using the unity, so-called unity, to against anything may happen. And they said we must eliminate all those independence people. And so, as you can see, the Chinese Communist Party regime dumping so much money into the United States and Taiwan's election. And luckily, Taiwanese knows that. They know the Communist Party better. So they refused to accept their Chinese voting machines. Unfortunately, the United States, even today, still many states are using the Chinese Communist Party regime-made voting machines. And they studied it very well, and they know how to infiltrate those machines and manipulate the election result and by using remote control access. And also the very big dangerous thing to the United States, I think, is computers and cell phones, all made in China. In this way, our conversation, our text messages, our emails, everything the Chinese Communist Party regimes can search, can control, can filter the United States people and collect our data. It's don't even have to mention. I was wondering, how come this could happen? We must know the Chinese Communist Party regime have been infiltrated against this country, not 1 year or 10 years. It has been a long time. A lot of sleeping cells got into our highest ranking in the United States government. For example, most recently arrested the CCP agents in New York. They got into city mayor and also governor office. They are chief officer of a campaign manager, and they got tons of money for those elected, so-called elected. Actually, it's a manipulated result, get them elected using the Chinese CCP's support through all the field. We're talking about money, we're talking about the database, we're talking about all the social media. This is very evil. And this is still going on, even today. My vote in 2023 in Washington State, I live in Seattle. My primary vote was I think my ballot was stolen. I didn't find it out till the final vote in November. I still haven't received my ballot. And I feel like, okay, primary election, I received my ballot late. I tear it apart. I was so mad. I threw it into garbage can. So I didn't vote for my primary. So this final vote, I must vote, but I don't have the ballot. I don't have the ballot. I went to my mailbox many times. I didn't get it. Finally, I decided, okay, I hate to vote online, but I have to do it. So I went online, and then some procedures I couldn't go through. So I have to call the election office. In our King County election office, they give me an answer. They say, oh, don't worry. You can go to any one of those ballot collection mailbox and go there. There will be some people serve you after 6:30 when the day gets dark. This is what they have been doing. The Democrats is cheating us, and they rip off our voting result. How do I find out? Because when I went to online, I logged in. Then I found out it says my primary vote, my ballot was delivered on July 27 to the King County election office. I was mad. I was surprised, but I confirmed President Trump and other people say our 2020 election is stolen. It was stolen. It is truly stolen. Because even small potato like me, my vote is stolen. And my votes are stolen, not only once, but twice, but more times. The other year said my ballot was arrived late, so it wasn't counted. In Washington State, if you log in online, you click on my vote, it turned out to be somebody you didn't vote. It is not your vote, but it's called my vote. I called the election office. I said, why do you put somebody else like a Jay Inslee, that a traitor I didn't vote, to be under my vote? They say, oh, that does not mean you voted. It means the voting result. I said, then why don't you label it as a voting result? I want to know my vote is counted the way I voted. They said, sorry, we cannot change it. And this kind of thing keep going on. It's not only in Seattle, King County, but everywhere. As many as possible, the Democrats cooperated with the Chinese Communist Party regime, purchased them. I said the Democrats Party, who are purchased by the CCP, working with the CCP and acting as a CCP agent, is the very biggest danger to the United States constitutional rights and our freedom. Recently, we found out so-called Congressman Ted Lieu, who is one of the three against the establishment of Congressional Select Committee on CCP. Ted Lieu and Judy Chu, and also New York Congresswoman Grace Meng. Those three against the establishment of our Congressional Special Committee, the Select Committee on CCP. Why? If you look at their history, they have been so proud, felt so honored to celebrate the Chinese Communist Party regime's birthdays, events, and everything everywhere. But now look at it online. All those videos and pictures are all gone. You cannot find out. They have been kissing the CCP all the time. Those records, they were gone because the CCP helped them. The Democratic Party helped them to take down those evidence. This is so evil. This is helping the CCP infiltrators and their agents. And I would say they're agent plus. They are way worse than those spies because they, uh, yeah, yeah, yes. Yes, these just last month or so, the CCP regime sent someone to approach our Chinese Democracy and Human Rights Alliance East Coast leader and said, "We hope you come out to supporting this Korean person, person from Korea, and we must support him so that the CCP won't win." So um, the plan, uh, the plan was, mhm, yes, yeah, she's totally behind it, and so yeah, they are pushing for transnational repression against us. For example, myself as the Chinese Democracy and Human Rights Alliance president, and our vice president, Mr. Jianmin Bai, we were framed against by the Chinese Communist Party regime's embassy in Washington, D.C. It was because we planned to have a big protest against the CCP and demand the Chinese Communist Party regime release democracy and human rights fighter and leader, Dr. Wang Bingjiang, and also human rights lawyer Gao Zhisheng, who has been disappeared more than 6 years now. And we want the CCP regime release them and other political prisoners. But the CCP regime doesn't want to hear our voice and they hate us. So they give us a burning order. Can you believe that? Right before our event, the night before. And the Secret Service in Washington, D.C. detained both me and my vice president on September 20th, 2022. So therefore, the infiltration in the United States is so obviously helping the CCP because we were both detained, and I even got injured, hospitalized more than 3 months, and even now I still have a back pain and my hip and a leg pain. You know, so our next day, September 21st protest never could happen. And the CCP achieved their goal because our Secret Service arrested, I mean, not arrested, they don't have any reason, they just detained us overnight. And when the time released us, it was too late for our event. Yeah, that's so-called young pioneer. Mm. I, I was born in Beijing, China, and grew up there. And it is Chinese capital. So definitely we got mentally polluted the most. And we are the one the people also see in our eyes for the Tiananmen massacre. And I was there. Yes. Hmm. Okay, when I was 16 years in the Chinese military, so first thing people don't know, why do I join the military? We are so poor. We, in the winter time, we have to go to the field, dig up the cabbage root to boil it and to eat. And my sister and I, we have to go to the wild field, dug up all those different kind of so-called wild edible thing. That's where we were. And so it's not because we want to join the military. It's because there's no other way you can make a living. That time I was 16 years old, you know. Um, So what happened in my life and in my family, and tells you how great, how wonderful the Chinese Communist Party is. The more you think about it, the more you feel like you are cheated, especially after, especially when the Tiananmen massacre happened. I was there in Tiananmen. I was writing articles, sent it to the broadcast station. I was there and escaped from my propaganda bureau's work because I was a translator and an interpreter as a journalist as well, working in Beijing Review magazine. But I really, really feel like it is a great treasure. We had so many young students and Beijing citizens stand up. That time it stood up and say no to the Chinese Communist Party regime. We want to have an election. We are tired of the corruption and we want to have a change. But the result was the Chinese Communist Party, one party dictatorship regime, control everything. They send the tanks and machine guns to the street and to answer people. And that is so horribly sad. That time I decide I shall against that one party dictatorship regime with no any negotiation. And some people asked me, were you born on June 4th, 1989? We saw you were on the Facebook and we want to say happy birthday to you. I say, I'm sorry. Thank you for say happy birthday to me, but that birthday actually is not the born day. Well, not the day I was born. It was the day I woke up. I decide fully against that CCP regime. I don't have any hope on them anymore, because in the past I used to think, oh, they will change, they will get better. Let's do reform. Let's push them and talk to them. But how could you talk to, beg, or do anything to against inhuman and could lock you up with no reason and slaughter you and with no feeling, that kind of a Chinese dictatorship regime? You cannot deal with them like deal with the normal people. Because they were lied to, because they were cheated. The CCP faked up everything. The CCP faked up everything. For example, in the United States, they have some labor union. They went to China. They talked to Chinese labor union. They don't even know the Chinese regime set up the Chinese labor union. The Chinese regime set up a women's organization. The Chinese regime sent the so-called professional religious people to all the churches and the temples and church and everywhere, and the mosque as well. And they are controlling the Chinese people, everything, everywhere. From when you born, where you're going to live, till after you graduate, where you going to work. And they control everything. Americans must study Chinese history. The reason I say that is because in the Chinese history, after the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, took over, stole the power in the mainland, what they did first, people may not know. Number one thing they did was confiscate all the people's businesses by gradually and quietly take over people's rights. For example, in the beginning, they say, we'll cooperate with the private entities. And it's called public sectors and joined the private sectors. Sounding pretty good, huh? But actually, they are taking over all the business in all different fields. Once that is done, they control what you can do or not. They say you are not going to get a job, then you cannot work. You cannot get any money. You cannot make a living. This is number one. And this is what worries me about the United States. More and more government get into all different private sectors. For example, teaching languages. The CCP have the so-called volunteers get into our library system. They occupy several days teaching people free in order to remove all the private businesses and teachers teaching the children. And they want the children get communism ideologies. They want to say to our children, communism is good, socialism is good. You need them to get a fair payment and so on. But what they don't tell you is once the government or one party regime controlled the power, they use that power to against you. That's why I say any bills they want to pass, the government by different level, if it's a regulation against it doesn't matter how great it sounds like, but any regulation is regulate our freedom. The more regulation, the more. Yep. Communism is the one eliminated everybody's freedom. That's why so many people against the CCP, we don't even have a knife. Can you believe that? In China, if you want to have a knife, you have to use your personal real name and ironed into that knife. And so that if you get mad one day, kill the government officials, they know who you are. right away. And this is how fear of that regime against the people and worry about the people will fight against them. And Chinese people don't have any guns. We don't have any constitutional rights like in the United States. But we need to protect our guns rights and all the constitutional rights. And media is one of the key things the Chinese Communist Party regime use to brainwash our children, our adults, and in all different fields. Because Mao Zedong said that 笔杆子、枪杆子，干革命离不开这两杆子。So the pen, including lying and writing and in talking, and also police and military. If we want to do the revolution, we cannot live without these two big guns. So remember, the first gun is media, is our speech rights, our publication rights. And this is what the CCP worries the most. And because once you have a freedom of speech, then you give people freedom of knowledge. And if they only want you to know one thing, that communism and socialism is so good, and the government can protect you, make sure you're treated right. But what if that regime have the power, but don't do that? They don't want to tell you. They don't want you to know what's really behind so-called, they will give you this right, that's right. They can give it to you, they cannot give it you also. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. I think first thing the United States must know, must understand what the CCP really is. They are not as good as what they said. It's actually totally opposite. They say they help children's rights to protect the children so that they can take your kids away without you to know about it as a parents, and because they want to protect them. But after the transgender operation, they let you know. This is executing the CCP agenda, eliminate the next generation, the future of the United States. This is not a simple transgender operation issue. This is behind the CCP long-term goal, eliminate the United States future, eliminate our next generation who have the freedom and fighting genes, because the Caucasian especially are the people fighting against the England tax code. Okay, so they'd rather escape from England established this great nation, Freedom USA. But look at it, what's happening now. It is everything the government is saying and telling you, we will help you. We will give you free housing. We'll give you shelter. This is basic human rights. But what they don't tell you is they are promoting drugs. They even use our taxpayers' money legally, openly, give those kids to use the illegal drugs, which is put them in sick condition and walk around and mumbling around. They don't even know what they are thinking, they don't know what they are talking about, you know? And so one day I ran into the Seattle City Council in our Beacon Hill area. Tamara Morales something, you know, and it's just a horrible Seattle City Council. I ran into her. I asked her, I say, what do you think about it? What can you do about those homeless on the street? There's so many of them getting more and more. Now in Chinatown, you can see entire several streets full of the drug users and the homeless. She said, oh, we need more money to create more housing for them. I say, you put them into this situation, and then you ask taxpayers to pay more and more. And why don't you talk about the drugs and illegal drugs to make them sick, to make them losing jobs? She said, oh, don't talk to me now. Would you please go to my office and you can call me? I said, no, I want to talk to you now because finally I meet you in person here on Beacon Hill in Seattle. It's not easy. So I wanted you to answer my question. Guess what happened? She started to run, dashed out to the crowd. I'm not happy. And because I also told her, I, as a retirement person, retiree, my monthly income is $1,013. You know, those so-called disabled drug users, low income, they don't have a job, they receive even only the housing subsidized. It's more than $2,000. And on top of, I have a 100% less than their income. I also have to pay my tax for my property, for my house, for more than $8,000. And they pay nothing. Where is the fairness? This is totally communism. This is their style of socialism. Rip off your rights, and then they say, we care about you, drug user. Vote for me. This is what they are doing. And mm-hmm. Yeah. And they use the taxpayers' money to pay for it. Oh, yeah. Have a relationship with them. Yeah. You don't know the Chinese, there in Seattle City Council, there is a famous socialism candidate and was elected as a city council, whose name is Kshama Swant. You know what he did? What she did? She hired many people. She hired them to go register all those homeless people. And so wherever she goes, and those people will make sure to vote for her. And this is a big scandal, I tell you. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Tell you one thing I was really, really surprisingly found out the CCP deep infiltration is went to very high level. Okay. In Washington state, I people know me against the CCP because I experienced the Tiananmen massacre. I'm a survivor of Tiananmen massacre. So to against that one party dictatorship regime ruling on Chinese people is unacceptable. We want to take down the take down that united together as a one party Communist Party regime power. We must fight against them. It's regardless of what it's going to cost us. Many people know we against that regime. We are life life in danger. And the infiltration in the United States is so deep, so wide. Last year, during the APEC convention in California, Newsom and Biden wanted to welcome Chinese dictator Xi Jinping, and they did. We, as people who lost family members, who got relatives or family member arrested unfairly, unjustly, and some people's business was ripped by the CCP, and all different kind of human rights violated victims. We went to there using our own pocket money. We go there. We went there to protest against that dictator Xi Jinping. Guess what happened? The CCP hired more than 2,000 thugs, paid their cost of travel, their shelter, hotel, and their red flags, their big bullhorns, their dress, even their red shoes, and huge flags there created that so-called patriotic scene. But actually, that is a big threat to the United States. People need to know they are creating big lie, big fake news, and big scene to show to Americans, you shall not, you don't dare to against us. You know, we must stand up. We must against the Chinese one-party dictatorship regime infiltrate against America and so-called Biden and Newsom's peaceful competition and work with the Chinese government. That is totally doesn't make a sense because the Chinese Communist Party regime already said and have been executed their strategies to take down biggest enemy, the United States. You are saying we're friend and have an equal opportunity? Are you crazy? Totally out of balance. And only stupid people can do that. If they are not stupid, then they are traitors. And that's what I think they are. They'd rather sell America to get their personal benefit and welcomed by the CCP. Now we can tell you about our Washington State Governor Jay Inslee and his gang, Bob Ferguson, and tried to promote him as a few years ago as the presidential candidate. But what kind of person they are? This Jay Inslee visited China and promoted by the CCP regime because I'm sure they had a plan. At the Chinese Global Network TV, I accidentally found out Jay Inslee, the Washington State governor, promised China to offer China missile high-tech defense and intellectual properties. What are you doing, traitor? And now they're not patriotic. They are traitors, you know? And so now, actually, behind the Jay Inslee is Bob Ferguson, who controls our legal system, promoting people to using drugs and not get punished and not even get jailed or go to study, how to remove their bad habit of using the illegal drugs. And they're promoting it, using our tax dollars and let them openly use it. And so-called, if we don't help them, give them more, they may die. But in the past, lock them up and, punish those traders, drug providers. And that's how in the past we had a peaceful life and safer life. And now we don't feel that way anymore. It's because they are destroying America and destroying our legal. You know, even even after the Secret Service had, taken me away and detained me, some people said I should sue them, but I didn't really want to. The Secret Service injured me. I was hospitalized more than 3 months, and even today I still feel pain and suffer. Cannot walk regularly. Cannot walk normally. So, but thing happened. It just cannot let me to stand it anymore. For example, I was elected as a national delegate of the Republican Party. And so one day before I take off from Seattle to go to Milwaukee, and a Chinese person told me, oh, President Trump got shot. You know, this person doesn't understand any English, so anything Chinese, I don't trust it at all. So I just don't treat it as a news or nothing at all. But what happened is the next day when I flew to Denver, waiting for the next flight to Milwaukee, my God, the big news come out was President Trump really got shot. We were very sad, and many people hug each other and so on. We worried so much, but when I saw President Trump stood up and say, fight, 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 I was so moved. I feel God bless President Trump and the United States of America. I love President Trump very much. I worried about his safety. I immediately sent several messages and also called that person. I said, could you please tell me where did you hear that President Trump got shot yesterday? He didn't answer. He didn't answer. Later, he said that news was out. Somehow couldn't find anymore, but it was from Twitter. When I went to the convention, the National Republican Convention, I was so happy and so excited that I could represent Washington State. We have 42 delegates, and I was one of them. And so we met, first day, met President Trump. I was so happy and so lucky. I met President Trump. I shook hands with the Vice President to be J.D. Vance. And also I met my hero, MPG, and Margaret Taylor Greene, and also Jim Jordan, and also Congressman from Florida, McDonald's, and many others. So I was really excited and had a wonderful first day. But when I went back to where we stayed, and I just couldn't stop thinking, what about President Trump? Why the Chinese news told people he was shot one day before? And I couldn't control myself. So next day, I talked to Secret Service at the convention. So I asked everything, whatever they asked. And I just said I worried about President Trump and his safety. And I worried about the Chinese Communist Party regime may be behind this assassination. But what happened is they kicked me out from the National Convention. They took me out. They ripped off my credentials and injured my hand full of blood. And they said, you are not going to be back to the convention anymore. Your credential is not with you anymore. I asked why? Why I try to protect President Trump? Why I worried about President Trump? And I'm telling the truth, and you punish me. Why? That's what I asked. The secret person, either secret service person or police, wheelchaired me out because I couldn't even walk that time. I was just so sad and so much in pain. And he said, you have to ask Washington. I said, Washington, D.C.? He said, yes. Now I know the same Washington, D.C. helped the CCP Communist Party regime stopped our protest in front of the Washington, D.C. Chinese embassy. Is behind evicting me out of National Convention of the Republican Party. This is so deep. It hurts me so much. Mm. I, I think American people should see during the presidency of the President Trump and compared to presidency of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, which time your life is better? It is so clear. I'm basically I don't basically eat meat so much. I love to eat eggs a lot, but the 1 dozen of eggs from 99 cents per cart, 12 of them, until now, more than $5. And how much I have to pay? What is the percentage of the living cost increase? And they are telling you our lives are better. I say totally lie. That is not true. And we must stop those liars keep lying to American people. And we should not vote for that kind of a person. And President Trump, he has a lot of money. He has a good life. He's a good family. He doesn't have to run nothing. But because he is patriotic, he loves America, loves this country. And he feels like if he doesn't do it, he couldn't stand that anymore. And that's why he started running. But when he started running, and all of those CCP regime spies and agents and cooperate with the Democrats jump on him. The first thing did is try to eliminate his name, get onto the ballot, and then they created and made up that so-called women's rights invasion and try to make President Trump bankrupt. And then they made up all kinds of stories and tried to put President Trump in prison. They did everything, anything they could, but they cannot stop this American hero, patriotic President Trump. Then they want to assassinate President Trump. How evil they are. How evil the evil CCP working with the corrupted traitor Democrats leaders, some of them, and to against President Trump to make up the story, to create all kinds of lies and made a one-sided story to be heard all over the places and eliminate President Trump or pro-President Trump voice. And this is not like America anymore. And this should not keep going anymore. We must stand up and take back America. Stand up and fight with the President Trump. Fight, fight, fight. Don't be afraid. We must all stand up. Don't afraid of nothing. Only when we afraid of nothing, we can fight and win. And we should remove all the fears, because if we don't fight now, and we shall not have our freedom anymore. I I think I I would like to make a suggestion to President Trump team. Cut off the CCP supplies completely, because we cannot let the CCP create this and that and threatening us against America. For example, they said, oh, if you don't work with the China, you will lack of, masks. When you need it the most, we are the one provided to you. And we mustn't depend on China. We must cut off the ties from China. And now I let people to know very important information. Is Chinese Chamber of Commerce is a big enemy of the United States. And they have been working for the CCP, infiltrate against America, destroy America. The way they have been doing it is through the marketing term dumping. What is dumping? It's sell you products so cheap you cannot afford it to not take it. But what the result turned out to be, whichever product they dump to you, you took it, you killed your own industries. Okay. So this little simple thing, mask, when the CCP provided to all our, hospitals and different field, without them, we cannot even have this kind of product. Unbelievable. No, don't depend on them. Don't trust them. Hmm. Huh. Subsidized by the CCP. And yes, mm, mm. The CCP is a monopoly on our economy, and this is what their goal is. And so by controlling our money, controlling our business, and then they can control the United States government. And this is what they have been doing. And the United States government is must wake up. And I have to say, the Congressional Select Committee on CCP, it has been doing great work, and the congressional special those committees really doing great, outstanding work. And in the past several weeks, about a month now, the Congress passed 25 bills against the CCP regime support Taiwan, the democratic elected government. But today, the news is the CCP surrounded entire Taiwan using military and so-called civil boats and ships and so on. And then the CCP have a flight threatening the Taiwan. This is not acceptable. And I salute to Taiwanese who stand up, don't feel fear against that regime. But I also call the United States must stand with the Taiwanese people. And we cannot let the CCP Communist Party regime take over Taiwan in any ways, by power or by stealing or by infiltration. Whichever way, we must fully support on the side of the Taiwanese against the CCP regime. And because if we lost the Taiwan, we lost the entire Pacific, uh, that Asian area totally. And so we must stand with Taiwan. We must support Taiwan. We must think about anything we can support to do something for Taiwan. And we want the Taiwan as a new member get into the UN, the United Nations United Nation. And we think the CCP regime is not elected by the people. They cannot representing people. CCP China must get out of UN. This is what we are doing. Yeah. That time during that APEC meeting, we went to their protest. We were just probably a few hundred people. They was just dumping in more than 2,000. What they did, they just framing against us, have us arrested and beat us up, hospitalized us. But not even one CCP Communist Party regime member who doing that is even detained. This is how terribly the situation is. And under the Newsom regime, entire California turned to be horrible place. And the surprising thing is when Xi Jinping, dictator, went to California, they suddenly clean up the street. Okay, homeless is disappeared, and the pea smell is disappeared, and the big metal bars, more than a person tall, is set up just like in China. What this guy has been doing, this governor, he is totally a traitor, selling America, kissing the CCP, Xi Jinping. It's shame on him. Chinese Democracy and Human Rights Alliance, you're welcome to visit our website, freeourchina.com, at Seattle FDC in Twitter. And also in Chinese, we have a website. It's called FDC USA. It's stand for Federation for Democratic China, abbreviation FDCUSA.org. Mm, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we have people in New York, and our people were approached by the CCP regime people, confusing our thought, said that we must support so and so that we don't let the CCP win. But actually, they are part of it. And they have been in the position, support the CCP. That's why the CCP underground police station is pushed through, you know. And Grace Meng is one of them. And Grace Meng helped the CCP in all dimensions. And also California, Ted Lieu, and the California Judy Chu, three of them joined together against the Select Committee on CCP's establishment. And three of them, all standing with the CCP regime, joined together with the Chinese embassy ambassadors and also consulates in all different occasions. But right now, online, you cannot find them anymore because the CCP is so stink and people are waking up and find out that they are infiltrated against America interests. And they are the people stealing our high tech and getting our data, trying to screw up our election. And they are evil entity. The Chinese Communist Party regime is the root of evil, and it's international terrorist organization. And so people must know whatever they tell you, good thing, beautiful thing, it's lie. They are professional liar and the best one in the world. But it's great they are waking up. Not only one field though. Only President Trump can save America. The reason I say that is that President Trump have the guts to stand up to the enemy, and he knows where is the start. We can take back this country. And President Trump is very smart, and by making kind of like a making friend with North Korea and Russia. And so they talk to us. They talk to and respect in the United States. Look at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What this haha VP is going to be our president? Jesus, that'll be really uh, terrible for the United States in the future. Yes, he will. Mm. No, he's not a one man. We all stand with President Trump. Thank you. Please do. There are a lot of things we didn't mention this time, and so we can talk more. For example, the CCP spy agency Confucius Institute still have been doing their infiltration against our next generation, and also many different so-called friendship sister cities, and they want to take our kids, more than 50 thousands of US students to China get communismized. And they are fully infiltrated against our next generation. And we must stop them. Yeah, don't give CCP money, not even a dime. Thank you. Thank you. Mhm. Yes. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to talk to people. One thing I would like to mention is the above I mentioned the three Chinese congressmen in the Democrats Party, Ted Lieu, Grace Meng, Judy Chu. We should stand up against those CCP agents, and they are on behalf working on behalf of the Chinese regime, not for America. They against the establishment of a select committee on CCP. They're totally wrong. They are intentionally wrong. Do not vote for them. Do not donate 1 cent to them. Especially recently, I heard the news on the 20th of October this month, a few days later. Ted Cruz is, no, sorry, Ted Lieu in California is so stink. So the International Leadership Foundation, which is also infiltrated by the CCP, point him to come to our Washington state, get money, do a donation campaign. So we call everybody, don't give him a dime. Don't support the CCP thugs, CCP agents, CCP interest representatives. Great. Thank you. I will join you. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America and President Trump.